Mistress Vania Changes Jobs, Episode 19. Mistress Vania made the final touches to Riko's new haircut. She was not a hairdresser, but Riko needed the haircut of a young man. What she had ended up with was a cross between a choppy bob and a short back and sides. The effect was striking. More importantly, it was in no way feminine. Riko wiped down her whole body with a damp towel. The irritation of cut hair was something she particularly hated. Riko had on her best sports bra and was uncharacteristically flat-chested. She went to a chair by the table. Arranged there was a man's three-piece suit, a crisp white shirt, and black leather shoes. When she was dressed, Riko looked even less like a woman. The suit had been tailored for her and fitted perfectly. Her breasts were hardly visible, but the waistcoat of her three-piece suit helped to break up the lines of her chest and disguise her true nature still further. Riko was a fully trained male impersonator. She had also completed extension masterclasses in Berlin. She could now impersonate both gay and straight men. Her augmented designer long john-style underpants went all the way to her knees. The line of them was just visible through a slight interruption of the trouser leg when seated. The attention to detail was awe-inspiring. "It needs more," said Riko, looking at herself in a 3/4-length mirror. Riko left the room and returned moments later with a bright yellow aerosol can. Written on the can in large black cursive script was, "Beard in a can, fresh from the underground." Beard in a can was a transformative product that was often used to spell out amusing messages on the bare stomachs and buttocks of burlesque strippers. It was also used to give females who impersonated men a more convincing after-5 stubble shadow on their lips and around their jowls. Too little and it was pointless, but too much and it looked fake. Riko got the balance perfect. She had a towel over her shoulder to protect her suit from a bearding. A smaller towel was held in position to protect her upper cheeks and eyes. "I would sit a while," said Mistress Vania. "Your stubble is perfect, but the gluten-free adhesive will take a few moments to dry." Riko sat and smoked a French cigarette. This allowed her to take that final step and become a man. "Now remember," said Mistress Vania, "we need a color that will be boring. Gunmetal gray, light blue, provided it's a bit washed out. Any of these will do. A Volkswagen Estate is a naturally boring car. We don't want to ruin the boring effect with a distinctive or vibrant color." "How do I look?" said Riko, turning around briefly. "Perfect," said Mistress Vania. "I am sure you can go to any car dealership and purchase a car without raising suspicion." Grant Stoat stood back 3 paces and admired his work. Flower arranging was not really that hard. Pizza delivery now seemed very limited. Lately, he had felt a new energy. His infatuation with Riko had made him more ambitious. He knew that he would have to transcend himself if he was to win her. Like an athlete or artist, he was in search for that additional something that was unseen but able to be drawn upon. Delivering pizzas to people's homes gave Stoat ample opportunity to steal flowers from their gardens. He had also stolen a lot of spruce, which provided a dark green color contrast with its foliage. He would get his friend Ross to deliver the flowers with a card. That way it would look like he had shelled out big dollars to have them delivered from a real florist. When Ross arrived, there was a new Volkswagen Estate in the driveway. It was the color only a cement salesman would enjoy. Consistent with Mistress Vania's plans, he would not even recall the car being there. Its retentiveness in the minds of observers was virtually nil. Walking up the front path, Ross delivered the flowers to the door. Immediately he could tell Riko was not impressed. She read the card, which was signed, "My heart is yours forever, love, Grant." "Who is Grant?" asked Riko, reading the card. The question may have been rhetorical, but Ross figured he would answer it anyway. "He's the guy that bought you the pizzas," explained Ross. "He is in love with you?" "Like, I guess that's pretty obvious. He doesn't send flowers to all the people he delivers pizzas to, you know. He says he's even giving up smoking. Hasn't actually stopped yet, but it's on his to-do list. He's gone mental over you, which is weird, because he doesn't normally fancy Asian chicks." "These are from the skinny guy who smells strange?" said Riko. "The one who brings the pizzas in the degrading car?" "That's him," agreed Ross. "He's always smelt like that way. Smokes and booze doesn't overpower the smell. It's just kind of there. And you're not wrong. His car is a piece of crap." Riko took a good look at the bouquet. It looked like a strange mixture of plants stolen from 5 different gardens, which is precisely what it was. "Tell him to eat it," said Riko, holding the flowers out in front of her. Ross stepped backwards quickly and held up both hands. "No way," he said. "My job was to deliver them, not to bring them back. He'll give me hell if I bring them back. They're your problem now. They look piss poor, but he thinks they're special. Spent hours on it. I mean, I see your problem. You don't look his type. He's obviously had some kind of brain fade, and he's punching above his weight. He's not in your league. Just let him down easy, because if he thinks he's been poorly treated, he can be a real pain." Before Riko could say any more, Ross got into his car, which was only marginally better than Stokes' own wreck. "I don't want this problem to turn into a big problem," said Mistress Vania as she arrived in the doorway. She looked at the flowers unhappily. Roger was excited as he watched Riko wrestle down the stairs a small fitness trampoline. "I'm going to be a cage fighter," said Roger, throwing his fists around in an elegant fashion. "You are going to be as fit as a cage fighter," said Riko. "There is a big difference. You have the killer instinct of a fish finger." "Cool," said Roger, throwing more punches, followed by a pathetic roundhouse kick that nearly put him on his backside. "I'm a killer fish finger. I didn't even know you could kill someone with a fish finger." "They have artificial colors in the breadcrumbs," said Riko, dragging the trampoline, "which makes children and pensioners short-tempered, but generally fish fingers are harmless, unless you try to eat them while very drunk or overly tired. Then you might choke on them, but that goes for any kind of food." "What's with the trampoline?" asked Roger. "The MMA workout requires skipping rope," explained Riko, finally settling the trampoline in the center of the cellar floor. "I am not going to try and get you to skip rope. Jogging on the spot on a trampoline is a close substitute. You are the big one, and the big one cannot skip. When you are not the big one anymore, when you are leaner, then you will try skipping." "I'll break it," said Roger, looking at the trampoline. "I'm pretty heavy, you know. I broke the suspension on my friend's Korean hatchback last winter. It was really under pressure, with me in it. Then he hit a pothole, and it was game over, man." "This trampoline is suitable," said Riko, simply moving the trampoline to a location underneath the beams that had been used for the ropes. "It is number 1 in engineering and material sciences." This time Riko tied up Roger with a different purpose in mind. Until Roger was proficient in using the trampoline, he needed to be secured by ropes. Riko was mindful of the fact that Roger fell with the grace of a seal being thrown from a helicopter. There was really no scope for him to save himself in any kind of fall. He just landed. Roger was now effectively in a harness. He jogged tentatively on the trampoline. "It should be working your legs," said Riko. "Can you feel it in your legs?" "Hell yeah," said Roger. Riko turned as she heard Mistress Vania coming down the stairs. "I've been reading a lot of journals," began Mistress Vania. "You might think I've been suiting up in black rubber and beating the living daylights out of you, but you're wrong. There has always been method in what I've been doing. Not everything we've done has been successful, but this is a new era for me. I need to fail quickly to increase the iteration rate. The faster we fail, the faster we learn. When you were unconscious, we took blood. We sent it away for analysis." "Isn't that unethical?" asked Roger. "Should I have signed a release form or something?" "As soon as we kidnapped and imprisoned you in a cellar, we put ethics to one side," said Mistress Vania. "There are many risk factors to early morbidity, and according to your blood work, you seem to have just about all of them." Over the next few weeks, Riko gave Roger the workout of his life, and slowly he began to develop the body of his life. He was far from thin, but they could see results almost immediately. The kettlebell would be passed around the body. It took coordination, and to start with, Roger would drop the kettlebell on the transfer from one hand to another, especially behind his back, but with practice he improved. Roger's core body strength and balance was so poor that to begin with, Riko had him wear a bike helmet. She genuinely feared that he would drop the kettlebell on his own head. There were left and right-hand swings, single-handed lifts and presses, single-handed pulls, and finally, single-handed snatches that worked everything, even the abs. Each exercise was for 1 minute. Between each exercise was a rest minute spent on the trampoline. As Roger made progress, some of the rest minutes were spent skipping with a rope. His technique was awful, but Riko could see the improvement. Miraculously, Roger's weight had dropped to the point where short periods of skipping were no longer dangerous to his knees or ankles. Eventually, the trampoline was removed altogether. Roger was skipping for each of the rest minutes. No longer degraded in his underwear, Roger now wore lightweight gym attire. Smaller sizes were needed as his obese body was diminished. "I can't believe the results," said Roger, trying on an even smaller size of shorts and t-shirt. "This is on another level. It's even better than the inspirational success stories of weight loss on infomercials." "He is no longer the big one," agreed Riko. Mistress Vania considered Roger in his new outfit. His body had been transformed. Such results could not be explained by diet and exercise alone. Mistress Vania continued to read the latest medical literature and journals. Slowly, she began to develop a theory. "I feel that hormones are important," said Mistress Vania. "Someone's genetic predisposition is only part of the equation. Hormones are a key factor, and their levels change in response to our environment. With weight loss, the muscles become more efficient, which is mediated in part by a key hormone called leptin." "Diet," said Riko, pointing to the empty plate that had once had a meal on it she had prepared for Roger. "No more pizza makes a big difference. With a low carbohydrate and to some degree low glycemic index diet, the muscles use more calories to accomplish the same amount of movement. That is also part of the mix, which is good if you are trying to maintain long-term weight loss," said Mistress Vania. "You are getting thinner," said Riko, pinching the now small roll of fat around Roger's waist. "That's subcutaneous fat," said Mistress Vania. "Loss in this area is good from a cosmetic point of view, but the real health benefits are to be found deep in the abdominal cavities to actually reduce the visceral fat. That's the dangerous fat. Drains through the portal vein into the liver, where all the other fat drains into the circulation, and that's the problem. It overloads the liver, and it's the best predictor for cardiovascular disease, inflammation, and diabetes," added Riko. "Man," said Roger appreciatively, "you guys must be doctors, because I'm not really following what you're talking about, but I figure you know best." "I've read so many papers," said Mistress Vania, "I might as well be a doctor. I've learnt a lot, but it's made me appreciate how complicated weight loss and weight gain problems are to solve." "That still doesn't explain why I seem to be on the greatest diet in medical history," said Roger. "I have given this a great deal of thought," said Mistress Vania. "The last few samples of blood were sent for analysis, high levels of catechloramine. It's been flooding the circulation in the blood." "High levels of what?" asked Roger, his eyes wide and his face pale. "Am I going to die?" "They are stress hormones," explained Mistress Vania. "But not only that, they are the major fat lipolytic factors, which means it breaks down fat. High-intensity exercise will naturally cause some stress hormones to rise, but being punished before exercise sessions may explain the extreme efficiency of weight loss you have been able to achieve. Fasting, punishment, and then high-intensity workouts are hitting this physiological sweet spot. Green tea is good too, said Riko. I drink a lot of green tea. Now Roger drinks it also. I'm a coffee kind of guy. I don't like regular tea, but this green stuff, it tastes like lawn clippings soaked in piss. But the more I drink it, I'm still not sure I like it, but I get used to it. Well, keep drinking it, said Mistress Vania. Riko's own diet is excellent. I wanted to leverage off that as much as possible. Drinking green tea stops those catechloramines from being degraded, so it significantly enhances fat oxidization at rest. And no sports drinks, said Riko, pointing to Roger accusingly. He always says, give me a sports drink. Sport drinks are bad for burning fat. You don't want sports drinks, stressed Mistress Vania. They are full of high sugars, and it just switches the body to oxidizing carbohydrates. And you know what that means. You're not burning fat. So really, the major way to do it is fasting, punishment, elevated stress of hormones, followed by kettlebell MMA workouts, preferably early in the morning. As the weeks passed, Mistress Vania and Riko were faced with a problem. How thin did Roger have to be before he could be released back into the wild? Each morning, before exercise and food, Mistress Vania would punish Roger. She used only her favorite equipment, the wooden paddle and the short whip. It was pain measured out like medicine. These early morning punishment sessions were carried out with a tenderness that her paying clients had never known. She put all of herself into these beatings. Both she and Roger could sense it was something special. At the end of a particularly intense session, Riko took a tape measure and recorded Roger's waist circumference. He is getting thinner, said Riko, typing the observation into a spreadsheet on her computer. Yes, he's thinner, agreed Mistress Vania, looking at a graph of Roger's weight decline. But is he fitter? I've been reading a paper last night. It said changes in the fat made no difference for the cohort's mobility risks. It was absolute fat. But those who improved their fitness had a substantial reduction in mortality risk again during the follow-up period. The fitness versus fatness issue has me confused. It would seem fitness is far more important as a determinant of health and longevity than is fatness. But what about the Swedish studies? Asked Riko, looking at Roger's stomach. Waist circumference is directly related to dying. Lots of advertisements from the government. Fat belly equals coronary heart disease. Yes, said Mistress Vania cautiously. I've read those studies too, but they are totally ignore physical activity and fitness. Granted, this doesn't make sense, whereas the other studies had waist and percentage fat measures in the laboratory. They also have fitness measures in the laboratory. They were looking at weight and fat and fitness. The Swedish studies were not. And when you adjust for fitness, fatness just has no association with all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, mortality, and incidence of heart attack. Huh? Said Roger, losing the thread of what Mistress Vania was saying. If you are too fat to exercise, you cannot have a good level of fitness. That's obvious. That is what she is saying, said Riko. What I'm saying, said Mistress Vania, is that the thinness is not an end in itself. Cardiovascular fitness and physical strength, that is, resistance training, are deterministic of overall health and longevity. Oh, said Roger, breaking into a smile. I think I get it. You're saying you could have just starved me thin, but instead you've given me the whole package. Yes, said Riko. You have the whole package. It's time, said Mistress Vania. I can go, said Roger desperately. I like it here. You guys are great. Here I'm the center of attention. I've never had that before. Now I've got it, I don't want to leave it. You can't stay here forever, said Mistress Vania. You have everything you need. Staying longer would gain you very little. I'll miss you both, said Roger, tearing up. I've got Helsinki syndrome. You mean Stockholm syndrome, said Mistress Vania, and I sincerely doubt that. We're not terrorists, and you're not a hostage, and at no point had we made demands on threats of killing you or cutting off your ears. Our aim was to adapt what we knew about S&M and apply it to improving someone with weight and eating problems. There were moments when I thought I must have lost my mind, even to consider the idea. For a prototype, you have turned out well. "We will know more for next time," said Riko, nodding in agreement. "I'm not sure I'm ready for more fat people," said Mistress Vania. "Will I see you again?" implored Roger. "No," said Mistress Vania. "It doesn't work that way. I'll get fat again, and you'll have to kidnap me and start all over," said Roger desperately. "You can forget that idea," said Mistress Vania. "You only get one chance, and you've had yours."